leg bones for?
The leg bones for? Well, there actually were several different leg bones, but they probably used them for like tools and different things. And then remember I showed you, let me find it again. Oh, here it is. I'm sorry. This bone here, I'm going to put it back on the dock viewer so you guys can see it. This bone here is actually a leg bone. You can see the little teeth on the end. This was the bone that they used to help scrape the hide. Because it's a little bit thicker, you can see it was heavy and they could grab a hold of it real easy and then they could scrape the hide. So they would have used leg bones for tools, I think. Okay, Ewing, I think that was 2 questions. Was it 2, Ewing?
Yes, that was 2.
Okay, thank you. Chilho, and if you could tell me how to say that right, were you guys on? I don't think they were on. Auburn Washburn. You guys have a lot of kids. I think you have 120 kids, so I'll give you 3 questions.
Okay, thank you. All right, ladies, read the first one.
Do they eat the heart?
They eat the heart. Very good. You guys did it all together. Well, I think that they did eat the heart. And the reason that I think that is because have you ever had roast? You can actually eat cow heart. It's actually much better than roast in my opinion, but I do think they ate the heart, yes, for meat.
Okay, our second question.
Do they use the head and intestines for anything?
Did they use the intestines for anything? Was that the question?
Yes, in the head.
Yeah, okay. You know, I haven't had that question before, but I know that when we use intestines now, we use them for meat. We package, we make like sausage and stuff like that. So that's actually a really good question, Auburn. I'm going to write that down. And if the teacher could email me, because I don't have any of your contact information, I will email the class the answer. And at the end of this, I will put up my contact information, so if all the teachers want to email me their contact information, I can email the answer to everyone. So, and then one more question, Auburn.
Stand up and speak loudly. We have one more.
Do they eat the eyeballs?
Do they eat the eyeballs?
About the eyeballs, yes, I think that they did.
Well, we already asked that question.
Okay, Auburn, you can have one more, because we already asked that question.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
How long do those buffaloes live?
Oh, how long do they live? That's a good question, Auburn. Buffalo, when they were on the prairie, they could have lived a shorter lifespan. Like when you were a pioneer, people usually only lived to about their 40s or 50s, and now we live a lot longer. But nowadays, if they're on the prairie and they're just, you know, out on a farm somewhere, they live between 15 and 25 years. And they could have lived that long on the prairie, but it depended on how often they were hunted and things like that. So I would say between 15 and 25 years. Okay, thank you, Auburn. And then we have Natoma, 2 questions. Go ahead.
How many bones were in the buffalo?
Oh, you guys asked me one. I'm going to have to email you that one, too. I could tell you how many are in the human body. How many bones in the buffalo? Okay, I'll have to get back to you on that one. And one more.
What parts do they not use on the buffalo?
What parts do they not use? They actually try to use every part of the buffalo. Now, just because they might have used the skull for decoration or to put up on their teepee or something, if they hunted, let's say, 20 of them and they didn't have time, or they didn't have any use for 20 of them, they would have held a ceremony and buried them. So I think that they tried to use every part of the buffalo, but at certain times they might not have needed every part of the buffalo. Like sometimes when your mom and dad go to the store, you use milk a lot, but you don't always need milk when you go to the store. So I think that they used every part, but maybe they didn't use it all the time. And that was 2 questions. Thank you for the trick question. And then Jamestown, do you have 2 questions?
Its nickname is the Buffalo City. Our nickname is the Buffalo City because we have the world's largest concrete buffalo on interstate. Oh, yeah. We also are the home to White Cloud, which is an albino buffalo, and we have a buffalo herd on I-95
Okay, I didn't quite hear all that. I think you were talking about you being nicknamed Buffalo City because you're close to there or you're in Buffalo City. If you could go a little bit closer to the microphone and repeat that, that would be great.
Okay, Jamestown is the home to the world's largest concrete buffalo, which is on the Interstate 94. We are also the home of White Cloud, which is an albino buffalo, and that's also located, or they keep her near the interstate along with a herd of buffalo. So if you ever pass by Jamestown, stop in sometime.
Okay, so you guys actually have a white buffalo that you can see, like, every day?
Yes, yes.
That's really neat. So then maybe you could tell us, how is a buffalo born white? Could you tell the rest of the classes out there?
It's just an albino, which means it's an oddity in nature, and the Native Americans considered that a good luck symbol. And so it was born, and I can't tell you exactly where, and then it became part of the National Buffalo Society or here in Jamestown. And then since then, she has had two other, I believe it's two, or is it three? Okay, two other albino buffalo children as well.
Wow, I'm going to repeat that for the other classrooms in case they didn't hear it. But for all the other classrooms, we actually have a class on that has, they had a white buffalo that was born there. It was albino. It's just an oddity in nature. And this buffalo has continued to have other buffalo, and she has had 2 or 3 other white buffaloes. So that's really neat. When you guys go home tonight, you can tell people that you talked to a classroom that actually had white buffalo. They can go out and see them near their school. So thank you. Did you guys have any questions, or did I get anything wrong? Do you know the answers to some of these trick ones?
Question.
What's the tail used for?
What's the tail used for? Oh, good question. I think I actually might have a tail. Let me switch back to my dock viewer. With so many classrooms on, I didn't actually show all the parts that I had. But I do have a buffalo tail. Let me zoom out for you guys. Or, whoops, now I'm zooming in. Let's go out. They could use the tail for, like, they would take the long hairs off of it and they could make it into rope. Or you can see this one, it kind of has a paddle to it, so they could have used it as a fly swatter. So those are all things they could have used the tail for. And one more question.
Dawson.
What parts of the buffalo did they use for cooking?
I think the question was, what part of the buffalo could they use for cooking?
Yes.
They could use the stomach as like a crock pot. They could put food inside it, and then they'd lay it next to the fire, and they could cook their food there. I'm sure that they ate other parts of the buffalo. Obviously, they eat the meat and different things like that. So thank you, Jamestown. And if that teacher could email me when I put my contact information up, I would love to have more information about your site up there. And then Wilkinson, you are my last school that I can talk to. Do you have 2 questions for us?
Our first question is, what is the reasoning for the ceremonial burial?
Oh, you know, I have not read a lot about it other than it's a sacred thing. You know, like when you go to church and things like that, there are certain things that you do in a church. It's just sacred for that. But I will see if I can do some more reading on it and sacred ceremonies. And I will email that out to you as well. Because I've never really had that question posed to me, but I assume that it would just be that it was, you know, they respected the animal so much and that's why they did it. But I'll see if I can find a more definitive answer for you. And then one more question.
We are wondering